Are there any leaders among female tertiary Muslim students of United Arab Emirates? Hi, I am Bushra from International Islamic University of Malaysia, and I'll try to find out the effectiveness of leadership education on female tertiary Muslim students of United Arab Emirates. As far United Arab Emirates is concerned, women outnumber men in higher education, and around 50% population in the workforce is of females. It accommodates more than 200 nationalities. So as a fast developing country and accommodating people from all around the world, a typical classroom of UAE is a mixed nationality classroom. This research is an attempt to check the effectiveness of leadership education on female tertiary Muslim students of a private college in Dubai, UAE, having 100% female population. So what actually formal leadership education is? In 21st century, university settings are providing leadership education, the idea behind which is to develop the leadership skills of young people which will assist them to overcome the difficulties in solidarity, whether they are individual or social, and lead them to contribute to the development of the society. The idea behind the research is to find out in what way the leadership education helping out the female Muslim students who often get a tag of less educated and career-oriented, especially from the less developed countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh and India, or the war zone countries like Palestine and Syria. So my research questions are: what is the frequency distribution of female tertiary Muslim students of UAE across Emotionally Intelligent Leadership Inventory 2nd edition? And the second research question is: how do female tertiary Muslim students of UAE perceive the leadership education? In the literature, various similar studies were found, like for example, Shane in 2012 explored the college student perceptions related to their first-time awareness of leadership. Koenig and Posner into 2021 tried to find out the effectiveness of a student leadership program in Turkey. Yassin in 2021 used the systematic review method to examine evidence reporting on the impact of student leadership program. However, there is no such research found in the context of UAE, so this research can help in filling this literature gap. For the formal leadership education, the course which was used was Emotionally Intelligent Leadership course. A formal leadership education through this course provides each student a good opportunity to learn leadership ethically and make them real-world ready. The course is designed to enable students to equip with the knowledge, skills, perspectives, and attitudes to achieve desired leadership outcomes across the 3 EIL facets, which are consciousness of self, consciousness of others, and consciousness of context. Across 3 EIL facets are 19 capacities, which are divided into 8 in the consciousness of self, 9 in the consciousness of others, and 2 in the consciousness of context. There are 57 items in these 19 capacities, which also make an inventory to check the leadership capacities of students. For the method, mixed design was used. For RQ1, Emotionally Intelligent Leadership Inventory was used to take the response of 25 female Muslim bachelor students of a private college of Dubai, UAE, as a part of course requirement. The response rate was 100%. The inventory uses 57 self-related items to determine the score of 19 capacities, which are divided into 3 facets: self, other, and context. There are 8 capacities in the facet consciousness of self, 9 in consciousness of others, and 2 in consciousness of context, just now I told. Each item on the inventory is rated on a scale of 1 to 7, in which 1 is never and 7 is always. The completion of the inventory is important for students to get the idea whether each item is an area of strength, a likely opportunity for development, or a clear area for development. For research question 2, 6 students of 6 different countries, which are Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, India, Palestine, and Syria, who scored good in the 19 capacities of the inventory, were interviewed. The interview was a formal interview with around 7 to 8 set questions, but there was a space for personal reflection for the interviewees. The questions were designed to probe their overall experience, learnings, and effects of the course. Further exploration was about the reason of lagging behind of Muslim females of their home countries in higher education and career. The interviews were recorded on the voice recorder of the smartphone, in which there is a separate option for interview. Then they were transcribed using Listen and Write app, which can be downloaded free of cost. So the findings of the quantitative data are displayed in Table 1. The Table 1 displays the frequency distribution of each item on the instrument scored by facet. The number and percentage of students following each item infrequently, frequently, and always is given. For example, for the first item in the category of consciousness of self, 60% of the students follow it frequently, 8% infrequently, and 32% always. The frequency distribution of female Muslim students of UAE shows that they are following most of the items frequently or always. They need to work on the capacity 21 in the category of consciousness of self, which is remain calm in stressful situations, which is coming 28% infrequently. In the category of consciousness of others, they need to work on the capacity 32, create connections with others easily. So this is how the inventory gives the general idea of the leadership capacities of students. Findings of research question 2 were the responses of 6 students from 6 different countries, which were thematically analyzed using detailed coding, from which major themes in the data were identified. The themes came out were usefulness, impact, lag, and move out, of which themes usefulness and impact had the same frequency of 11. The theme lag had a frequency of 9, and the theme move had a frequency of 3. From the transcript, the student response were taken out related to the themes. For example, in the theme usefulness, students mentioned like the course is useful in coping with changes, taking initiatives. It was a new concept to learn for some students, and there were many new skills for some students to learn. As an impact, with other skills like empathy, flexibility, and collaboration, the two most important things which students mentioned were that they got a better outlook for progress through the course, and they got a chance to think out of box. In the lag, the lags were found cultural, financial, political, and mental barriers. And in the move, the students mentioned some of the ideas which came into their mind, like encouraging women for doing something from home. One student mentioned about an NGO, and one student mentioned that leadership should be carried out inside the family, community, and politics also, not only in the career making. The research was able to take the views of 6 female Muslim tertiary students about formal leadership education. The formal leadership education was found useful for the students, and they had a positive impact on them of the formal leadership education. As Koenig and Posner mentioned in 2021, that the young should develop leadership skills as they are the future, hopeful, and productive. In 2021, Kuritsu mentioned that since the academic year 2020, there has been a particular increase in universities offering leadership education, and many have begun to consider it necessary. The reason of lagging behind of the female Muslims around the world was not found religion, but it was cultural, political, financial, and mental barriers. As Han pointed out, that flawed top-level policies, culture, political interests, patriarchy, and media role affect the interpretation of Islamic teachings. Alwe believes that actually Islam has particular and significant educational views which focus on knowing, loving, and acting. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that seeking knowledge is obligatory for every Muslim. So actually the culture influences how religion is interpreted. So in some parts of the world, the religion is interpreted according to the culture of that part. This has somehow denied the conception that Islam is responsible for the lagging behind of Muslim females around the world. As Islam empowers women in its own way by granting them the right to own property, the right to take personal decisions like marriage, right to seek knowledge, a woman, after properly receiving all her rights, can emerge as a leader. So the conclusion of the research is that the female tertiary Muslim students of UAE follow most of the capacities of emotionally intelligent leadership inventory frequently and always. The female tertiary Muslim students of UAE found emotionally intelligent leadership course useful not only in terms of career making but also for personal life. The reasons for lagging behind females in their home countries were found to be social, cultural, political, and financial. Mental barriers were also found as one of the reasons. The female tertiary Muslim students of UAE were found interested in helping out the females of their home countries through and with leadership education, and also gave some ideas like working from home, developing leadership for family, and participating in community and politics. And these are the references used while doing this research.